Good morning, students. Welcome to the first class of science. In this video, I will explain chapter 1, that is our environment. So let us start. First of all, we should understand the meaning of the topic of this chapter, that is environment. So what is environment? Environment is everything occurring naturally in our surrounding. And all these natural things, they interact with each other, and as a result all the living things, whether it is a plant or an animal or human beings, they get adopted to their surrounding. So this is what our environment, which we see in our surrounding. Now it is your turn. I'm giving you a task. Just you try to think some natural things which you see or you feel in your surrounding. Okay, here I have made a list of such things, and I'm sure you may also be thinking of the same things. They can be the plants, water, air, insects, soil, animals, sunlight, trees, temperature, bacteria, etc. Isn't it? Now, can you categorize all these things into different groups? Yes, we can put all these things into different groups. Now, some of these are the living and some are the non-living. So here, see, I have categorized them. Plants, insects, animals, trees and bacteria. They are the living. And water, air, soil, sunlight and temperature, they are the non-living. Now, all these living things which we see in our surrounding, they are called the biotic component. Biotic component of the environment. And on the other hand, these non-living things, they are called the abiotic component of the environment. So these biotic and abiotic component, they are collectively the environment. So here I have made a flow chart on environment. So there are two components of environment, biotic component and abiotic component. As I just told you that biotic components are the living components and abiotic components are the non-living components. Now, whatever the living things we see in our environment, they can be plants, animals including human beings, and decomposers. And these animals, they can again be of three types: herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. And if we talk about abiotic component, that is the non-living natural components of the environment with which the living beings, they interact, they can be water, air, light, temperature and soil. Now we will discuss one by one all the components of the environment. So first of all, we will discuss the biotic components of the environment. So what was the first biotic component of the environment? Yes, right? They are the plants. Plants, they are also known as producers, especially the green plants. They are known as the producers. Do you know why? Because they can produce food for the other organisms. They can prepare their own food. How? By the process of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is the process of preparing food by the green plants. And this process, it takes place in the leaves of the plants, green leaves. And that is why these leaves, they are known as the kitchen of the plants. You also have kitchen in your house now, where your mom cooks food. In the same way, plants, they also have kitchen where they cook their own food, and this is the leaf. For this process of photosynthesis, for preparing their food, the green plants, they need 3 things. So what do they need? What are these 3 things? Carbon dioxide, second, water and minerals, and third is sunlight. Carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide, it is taken by the leaves of the plants. For this, they have stomata on their leaves. And these leaves, they absorb this carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Second, water and minerals. So these water and minerals, it is absorbed by the roots of the plants, and from their roots absorb this from the soil, because roots are there in the soil. And third thing which is required for the process of photosynthesis is the sunlight. And this sunlight is trapped, it is trapped by the leaves of the plant. With the help of a green pigment present in the leaves. And this green pigment is known as chlorophyll. So, chlorophyll, it is a green colored pigment present in the leaves. And because of this chlorophyll only, the leaves of the plants are green in color. And that is why it is said that the non-green plants, they can't prepare their food. They can't perform photosynthesis because they have no chlorophyll, and since they have no chlorophyll, they can't trap sunlight, solar energy, and so photosynthesis can't be performed. So here in this picture you can see this carbon dioxide, it is being absorbed from the atmosphere by the leaves. Then water and minerals, it is taken by the roots from the soil. And sunlight, this sunlight, it is being trapped by the leaves with the help of a pigment known as chlorophyll, which is present in the leaves. So here, this is the process of photosynthesis. You can see carbon dioxide and water. What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process of preparing food by the green plants with the help of carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, and as a result food is formed, in the form of glucose, and at the same time oxygen gas is released, and it is this oxygen which we inhale during breathing. And that is why it is said that we should plant more and more and more and more trees, because it is the source of oxygen that we need to breathe in. So this is the process of photosynthesis by which plants make their food. Now, after plants, what was the second biotic component of environment? Yes, they are the animals. Animals are also known as consumers. Do you know why? Because animals are also, see, plants are also known as producers and animals are known as consumers. Why? Because they consume food prepared by the producers. They consume food prepared by the producers. That is why they are known as consumers or heterotrophs. Heterotrophs, hetero means others and trophs means food. That is, they consume the food prepared by others. And you may be knowing prepared by whom. So, now if I ask you some examples of animals. They can be cow, pigs, deer, rats, tiger, lion, goat, bear, snake, crow, etc. Isn't it? Yes. Now all these animals, if we see their food habit, it is of different types. The food habit of all these animals, it is different. You know very well that cow, it eats what? Only plant parts. Pigs, they eat both plants and animals. Same way here, tiger and lion, they eat only the flesh of other animals. So on this basis, these animals or consumers or heterotrophs, they can be divided into three types. They are of three different types. Here also, in this flow chart also we have written. So they are of three different types: herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. See here also, herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. Now what are the herbivores? So herbivores are those animals who eat directly plants or plant parts. So directly they eat plants and nothing else. And therefore they are also known as primary consumers. So herbivores, they are known as what? Primary consumers. Why primary consumers? Because they directly eat the plant parts. Now, the second group of animals is the carnivores. So carnivores are those animals who feed on these herbivores. Okay. So carnivores, they feed on these herbivores. And that means they eat the flesh of other animals. They don't eat directly, they don't eat the plant parts. They eat the flesh of animals. That means they eat the herbivores. And that is why they are also known as secondary consumers. They are also known as secondary consumers because they are dependent on herbivores who are dependent on plants. So if I ask you, if there won't be plants on this earth, can these carnivores survive? The answer will be no. Why? Because yes, of course, carnivores, they don't eat plants. But indirectly they are dependent on plants. Because herbivores, they are dependent on plants and carnivores are dependent on herbivores. So if there won't be plants, there won't be herbivores. And if there won't be herbivores, there won't be carnivores. So indirectly, carnivores are dependent upon plants. And that is why they are known as secondary consumers. And examples are here: tiger, lion, snake, etc. Now, what is the third group of animals? That is omnivore. Examples are pigs, rats, bear, crow. You must have seen. No, crow, it eats. Crow you must have seen, no? They eat the grains also, and they also eat small insects, isn't it? So these type of animals which feed on both the plants and the primary consumers. Primary consumers means the herbivores. That means they eat both the plant parts and the flesh of animals. They are known as the omnivores. And here are the examples. Now, what is the next biotic component? That is the decomposer. What are the decomposers? Organisms who derive their food from dead and decaying plants and animals. They are called decomposers. So decomposers, they derive their food from the dead animals and dead plants. They don't hunt. No, they don't kill the other animals. But when the animals and the plants, they die, they secrete juices on them and change them into simple form, break down them into minerals, and then they feed on them. And examples are the bacteria and fungi. So these are the decomposers, and these are actually the microorganisms. We can't see them with our naked eyes. We need microscope to see them, and that is why they are known as microorganisms. And these microorganisms, these decomposers, they help in one of the very important process taking place in the environment, that is recycling of nutrients or recycling of minerals also, you can say. How it happens? Whenever any plant or animal, it dies, these decomposers, they secrete juices on them and convert them into simplest form and convert them into minerals. These minerals, they get mixed with the soil and enrich its fertility. So in this way, this mineral is used by the plants for their growth. And these plants, when again they die, they release minerals. And again these minerals, they get used by the plants. So in this way, this cycle keeps on going in the environment. And this is known as recycling of minerals. How can we define? Decomposers break down the dead and decaying plants and animals into minerals that gets mixed up with the soil and again used up by the plants for their growth. This is called recycling of minerals. Now, one more group of biotic component is there, that is scavengers. Now, what are scavengers? They are the birds and animals that consume dead bodies of animals. So they are also such animals who consume the dead bodies. They also don't kill or hunt. They just consume the dead bodies, but they don't change their form. They don't secrete any juice and don't convert them into minerals. They just consume them after their death. For examples, jackals, crows, vultures and kites. And these scavengers, they play a very important role. They keep the environment clean by eating the dead bodies of the animals. So if there won't be scavengers, what will happen? The scavengers or these decomposers, if they won't be, what will happen? The earth, it will get full of the dead bodies, no? And we won't get space for ourselves. So these decomposers and scavengers, they play a very important role to keep our environment clean. So that's all for today. Here today we have discussed what? Let us revise once. What is environment? Environment is the natural things which we see in our surrounding. Environment has two types of components, biotic component and abiotic component. The living things, they form the biotic component, and non-living things, they form the abiotic component of the environment. Biotic component can be divided into three groups. Plants, also known as producers, they can prepare their food with the help of a process known as photosynthesis. Animals, they can be of three types: herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. Herbivores are those who feed directly on plants, and that is why they are known as primary consumers. For example, cow, goat, buffalo, all these. Second, carnivores, who feed on herbivores, and that is why they are also known as secondary consumers. For example, lion, tiger, snake, all these. And third is omnivore, who feed both on plants and animals. Example is bear, crow, etc. And next group of biotic component is decomposers. Decomposers are the microorganisms like bacteria and fungi, which feed on dead and decaying plants and animal matter. And we have one more group of biotic component, that is scavengers. Scavengers are those animals and birds who feed on dead animals, who consume dead animals directly. And these two groups, they play their role in keeping the environment clean. So it was all about the environment and the biotic component of the environment. In our next class, we will discuss abiotic component of the environment. For today, your homework is first, draw a flow chart on the components of environment. And second, differentiate between herbivores and carnivores. And second, decomposers and scavengers. Thank you.